So Neil, really exciting Premier League season. What do you make of it so far, and how do you see it going?
It's probably the best I've ever done since it came into force, the Premier League. I've never seen anything as close as this, you know. Last night on the programme we were just saying Southampton, Newcastle are the only two teams that aren't worried about relegation. You know, it's always been the top 4 or 5 clubs, and then the next 7 or 8 clubs, and then the bottom. But this year, there's only 2 departments, and everyone up to 12th, 10th, 11th are in the cart, really. So it makes for a good finish to the season. I can't see it being anything other than very close.
And obviously, being a former Premier League manager, been quite a few managerial changes. What do you make of the likes of Andre Villas-Boas going, Steve Clarke, and also would any of them jobs actually you fancy them? Would you fancy them?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I would have done, yeah. But I think now it's you know, I'm just enjoying what I'm doing now. It's nice to be able to comment about incidents without getting fined. I found it really different not having a letter through the post. It's been a breath of fresh air. But the clubs have made decisions, you know. At the moment, as we talk, the bottom 3 clubs have all got new managers and never been in the Premier League, any of them. Now that's a very brave decision at this stage of the season. And you know, when managers leave, chairmen make comments, and you know, instead of letting things go, and I always think, be careful what you wish for, because it's not always straightforward. But then you look at Tony Pulis at Palace, and they've done fantastic. You know, they've got pace and power, and Selhurst Park crowds are very, very good at home. So I think they've got enough, and Tony knows the division. So you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the 3 of them. Fulham, Cardiff and West Brom, with the new managers, you know, finish the season, really.
And you mentioned Pulis, I was going to ask you about that. His impact's amazing. Do you think that sort of puts his name in the hat for maybe not being the best Premier League manager, but it shows exactly what you need, especially down in the bottom half?
Well, yeah, I mean, Tony's given players confidence. I always thought they had good players. He brought very, very well in the window with Tommins and Ledley. Hennessy, the goalkeeper, is back up for Julian Speroni, who I had. But he's got pace and power with Balesi and Jason Puncheon, and then now Tommins. They've got that power away from home. They can Chamak and Cameron Jerome. You know, they've got an options now, and I think they've got too much. Defensively they'd be solid, they're well organised with Tony, and now they've got that pace. He'll be enjoying it, but not be straightforward, because they've got difficult games as well. But you know where you are with Tony. Every player knows his job. Now, you know, no disrespect to Solskjaer, but he's only been at Man United and Norway. Yes, he's managing Norway, but it's not an easy to come to the Premier League from Norway. You've got Pepe, who doesn't really speak the language, but he's done okay in 1 or 2 of his clubs, but not the Premier League. And you've got Fulham with a great coach at Man United, but never managed in the Premier League. And it's, you know, it's not as easy as people think, going from one extreme to the other. So I'll be looking on from afar at how these managers go, really.
How long should they give Moyes? And it must be another season, sort of. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for him, though. Obviously, he's not been able to bring in a lot of players.
It's been terrible for him. I mean, you look at his body language. He's at the moment, he's hating every minute. But he knows he's got to go through that now. He's got to go through the bad times to get back to the good times. And if he wants to succeed, which I'm sure he will, he's going to need 2 or 3 good transfer windows, and he's going to need help from Ed Woodward, who didn't give him any help, I don't think, last summer. You know, to only sign Fellaini when he didn't really want Fellaini. He wanted 2 or 3 others. You know, I think that he needs 5 or 6 players. I don't think he envisaged it being a major change like it has been. You know, all of a sudden, players who we thought might have done a job for him aren't good enough. So now he needs full-back, centre-half, centre midfield, wide player. You know, it's gone from 2 or 3 to 6 or 7 almost. And you can't just sign any 6 or 7. They've all got to be better than what they've got. So they've really got to, you know, look to get those players in January and in the summer, and then January. I think it'll take until another 18 months, personally. But I think he'll get it. I think he'll just about hang in there with the fans, because the fans aren't daft. I think, you know, Sir Alex is a clever manager, and I think, you know, the writing was on the wall. How they won the championship last year, I don't know. but they did. And it was a great time for him to leave, but a difficult time for David to take over. Even if they'd have had all the players playing really well, it was still a difficult time to take over. So it's, you know, he'll have to show his ability now to get the right players in with the scouting systems, etc., and spending money, which he's never had before, really. Everton, not a lot of money, you know, there's no comparison to the transfer market. But he's got to find these players now and integrate them as quickly as possible.
And Jose Mourinho is a massive part to play in this season, obviously he can still win a title.
Well, I've tipped him from day one. I was the only one, I think, everybody on my programmes anyhow said Man City by a mile, you know, and I love Arsenal being up there. But I just thought, I tipped him for one reason, Chelsea. I tipped him because they've got Mourinho as manager. And I think the performance against Man City was probably the best performance of the season, tactically by a manager in the Premier League. To play against the best side at home, Etihad, that the country's seen for many, many years, if ever, with the scores that they've been getting. To go up there and really beat them well on their own patch, I thought it was an amazing way. He's got Hazard tackling back, you know, like a young pup. You know, he'd never been able to tackle back, and all of a sudden he's chasing Harrison, Oscar, you know, and William. It's great to see him in action. But he knows Man City's got a better squad, but that necessarily might not win him the league.
And how much of, obviously he plays a lot of mind games, you've been saying they're still out of the title race. How much of an impact does that sort of have, not on just the team, but obviously Pellegrini's sort of getting into a war of wills? Does it actually do anything?
Well, I think it's an important part, really. I think you just try and get your brownie points, don't you, for your own team, really. So you only think about your own team. So, you know, you do talk about other incidents when the journalists, because there's that many interviews, you're bound to make comments that are twisted. You know, unfortunately for every good journalist, there's a bad one. And as a manager, you know, a lot of the tabloids write the stories before they ask the questions. It's difficult for managers.